Hello everybody, welcome back to Rogue Love, where we are continuing our quest to explore the games of the 2009 7-Day Roguelike Challenge. Today we have a game called Decimation by Ed Kolis. This is a weird one. This looks really cool. I haven't played it yet. I've read through the rules. It looks really interesting. I want you to experience it with me for the first time as you watch me get my ass kicked, as I'm sure will happen. If you enjoyed the game Numbers, you're sure to enjoy this. If you didn't, if your math skills are poor, as mine are somewhat opt to be, you may not enjoy it. All right, what can I tell you about this? I'm not going to read you the whole damn file here. There's an entire README file that explains everything here, but I'm going to give you the basic gist as I understand it. We are represented by that number 0. I will read the opening story, which is very short. Story. You are the number 0. Being the number 0, you are a nihilist. This means you want to wipe out all the other impure, barbaric numbers from the face of the Cartesian plane. Let me let my cat out of the room. There you go. Okay. So we are that 0 right there. And we are facing all these other numbers. We have to kill all of them. You can see our health up here, the rationality. We have rationality 100 out of 100. We can press number pad 0 to help. Let's let me make sure I've opened my game and pushed it to the side so I can access it when needed. Okay. Move the 0 with the numpad. You can't rest with 5, though. So we have to move one space every turn, no matter what. We use plus, minus, multiplication, and divide to polymorph adjacent enemies. I'll explain more about that soon. Try to make them all 0. See the README text for more instructions, of course. Now, what can I tell you? The higher the number, kind of the more, certainly the more damaging it does. If a monster hits us, it does its own damage times itself, or up to. That's how many dice it rolls. So if a 9 hit us, it would do 9d9, or 9 to 81 damage. If a 1 hits us, it'll do 1d1, or it'll do 1 damage. A 2 can do 2 to 4. So that's how that damage works. Why are these numbers in red? These numbers are in red because they can see us. The yellow ones have not seen us. They'll move about randomly. The other ones will all try to reach us. What else can I tell you? As I said, that's how much damage they do if they hit us. That comes off our rationality. If our rationality hits 0, we die. The squares you can see, anything that is written in white, including ourselves, if we were written in white, means it can't be seen. So no numbers on the board, monster-wise, are seeing these particular squares, for whatever reason. We are seen, and we'd be white if nobody saw us. How far can they see? They can see a number of squares equal to the numbers. This guy can see 9 squares away. This guy can only see 1 square away. See, unless you're right next to him, he won't see you. But the low numbers are still dangerous. Why? Because that's also how often they get to move. We move 1 every 10 turns. That's it. 1 square every 10 turns is all we get. This guy, by contrast, moves once every 9 turns. This guy moves every other turn. This guy moves every turn. So the lower the number, the faster they move, but the less far they can see and the less damage they do. Okay. Now, how do we actually kill them? We kill them by lowering their value to 0. How do you do that? Everything in the entire game is controlled with a numpad. If you haven't got a numpad, I think you're out of luck. You're not going to be able to play this if you're playing on a laptop without a numpad. This ain't the game for you. I've got a handy detachable numpad that's residing in my left hand right now. So if we press plus, minus, multiply, or divide, we perform an attack against all adjacent monsters, all 9 of these squares. Anything in them would get attacked with these, I assume all adjacent, maybe only the vertical and horizontal, but I believe all, including diagonal. What does it do? If we press plus, it will add 3 to the value. So if we press plus right here, it would be a bad move. This guy would turn into a 5. He would move a little slower, I guess, but he'd move half the speed of me instead of like 5 times the speed of me. Or he'd move twice the speed of me, instead of 5 times the speed of me. But he would do a lot more damage. We don't really want to do that. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, if you roll a number past 10, if you roll it to 0, it's dead. If you roll it to 10, I guess it's kind of dead. If you roll it to 0 or past 10, a modulus operation gets performed. I don't know if you know what that is, but it divides a number by something, I guess in this case by 1, but removes all multiples of 10. So if somehow we turn this guy into, 11, he would now be a 1 because the 10 would get dropped. So if you can find a way to do that, you can certainly weaken them. What if you perform minus? Let me just look at these while I have it open. Let me just tell you the few attacks we have. So yeah, that adds 3. That's what the plus sign does. Minus attacks all monsters adjacent with subtraction. And what is that? Subtraction is... Sorry, I just got to move this up some more. Subtraction. Subtracts 1 from all adjacent numbers. So if you have some low numbers adjacent to us, like this guy, That could be useful. We turn him into a 1. The second time we attack, we'd kill him. If you're dealing with a 9 or something, that's going to take you too long. He's going to kill you long before you succeed. If you multiply all adjacent numbers by themselves. In this case, he would be 2 times 2. He would turn into 4. That wouldn't be anything good. If you multiply 5 or 6 by itself, it's actually going to stay a 5 or 6. Why? If you multiply 5 by 5, it becomes 25. You drop the 10s, it's still a 5. 6 by 6 is 36. Drop the 10s, it's still a 6. But anything else can have an effect. If it was a 9, that'd be a really useful operation, of course, because 9 times 9 is 81. It would turn it into a 1. And finally, divide by. Divides the adjacent number by 2, rounding up. It would have, in this case, the same exact effect as minus. So I'm just going to press minus and attack this guy. All right, so he's a 1. The 1 hits you for 1. Oh, so that guy. After we acted first. He turned into that. The 1 hits us for 1 damage. The 1 hits us for 1 damage. You can see how many attacks he's getting because he moves so much. Well, he moves 10 times as fast as I do as a 1. Press minus one more time. We got him. There we go. He's dead. And, okay. You annihilate a number and regain half of your lost rationality. So we had lost a certain amount, I guess. I don't know how we got to 140, I'll be honest with you. As I understand it, we were supposed to gain half of whatever's missing. So if we had 75 hit points left, rationality left, we would regain half of it rounded down. We'd be at 87 instead of whatever we are. Somehow we're at 140. I don't quite know how that happened, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to argue with it. That's a good thing. We want to try and deal with these 3 numbers who can see us before dealing with these guys. Because if we had to deal with everybody at once, we're going to get our ass kicked. I'm going to try and back off a bit. All right, 7. So if I add 3, in this case he'll become 10. And that modulus 10 would be 0. So I'm going to add. I'm going to press plus for plus. He's dead. Excellent. Regain half your lost rationality. I'm not sure if that's working the way it's supposed to. I'm going by what it said in the book. I have more rationality than I would think I should have. Let's move north. I'm going to press multiply to turn this guy into a 1. Then I'm going to press minus on my turn. He's dead. Multiply in this case would turn him into 64 or 4. That'd be not bad. We could divide him. That would also turn him into 4. We could minus him. That would turn him into 7. Or we could add 3 and turn him into 1. So let's add 3 plus. And then let's minus to get rid of him. Okay, nobody can see us. We're white. The surrounding squares are white. Let's try and deal with that 1 if we can. Or 1 and 5. All right, the 5 can see us. Let's let the 1 deal with us. Okay, minus. Easy peasy. I might win this game. Is this all there is to it? Just clear the 1 level and you win? It's interesting. It's certainly innovative. I'm not sure. So multiply would have no effect. It'd be 25. It'd be 5. Could turn him into an 8. That would suck. We could divide him by 2. He'd be a 3. So far, that seems like the best option. Or we can minus and turn him into a 4. So I need my other cat out. Both of my cats are in the bedroom with me. Let's divide by and turn him into 3. Okay. Now let's minus or divide by would have the same effect. Multiply by would be shitty. But let's minus. All right, we got him. My rationality is very high. I'm not sure it's supposed to work this way. Again, I'm not going to complain. Whether I multiply, no, let's just divide. Divide turns into 2 minus. This is easy. Divide would turn them into 2. Minus would turn them into 2. Multiply would turn them into 9. That would suck. Let's just do minus. All right. Divide by minus. It's here. You can't read this. There's a little window that just opened up. Just so you know. Actually, now that I think about it, you couldn't read that little... just like when we read numbers, when we played numbers, a secondary window has opened up, and you can't necessarily see what it says. I don't think you can. I'm looking at the... Oh, maybe you can. I can't tell. Maybe not. I don't think you can see this. What it says, though, is it's 0 day. No, it's 0 hero day. He stands alone today. Ta-ra-ra-boom-da. It's 0. Oh. It's 0 hero day. He stands alone today. Ta-ra-ra-boom-da. It's 0 hero day. Congratulations. You win. Click OK. And that's it. That was Decimation by Ed Kolis for the 2009 7-Day Roguelike Challenge. Major points for innovation. The combat wasn't anywhere near as... I anticipated it being much more hard to figure out which attack would be most useful, but it seemed like it was always straightforward. Like if you're facing a 9, yes, you want to multiply. If you're facing a 1, obviously you want to subtract. It seemed like it was always a fairly clear-cut choice between either this one's better than these ones, or these two are equal, and therefore it makes no difference, you know? I do want to confirm one thing while I still have you here, just so I can see this. I'm reading from the README text. Whenever a monster reaches 0, it disappears, and the hero regains half the rationality hit points that have been lost in combat, rounded down. Thus, if the hero is at 75 out of 100 hit points and defeats a monster, the hero's HP will increase by 12 to 87 out of 100. I think had that, obviously it didn't work. We had like 300 some odd. There's no way that the math works out that made sense. I believe there was a glitch in the code. If it had worked the way it's supposed to, there might have been a much greater challenge. As it was pretty easy. And if Ed Kolis, if you ever happen to see this, I'm just letting you know that this is apparently an error. If it's not an error, if it's working the way it's supposed to, and I'm just misinterpreting the data, tell me that as well. Perhaps I'm misinterpreting something. But it seemed like a pretty easy game. The last thing I'll mention is that I had to use the Wayback Machine to find this. It was made in 2009. I was able to find it at a point where it existed in 2013 via time travel, essentially. And I'm assuming if we're not looking at like a really early prototype of the game. This is 4 years after the 7-day roguelike challenge completed. So I'm assuming this is a final version of the game, or as final as it ever got. So I don't think that accounts for that discrepancy. Anyways, that's really what I want to show you. Because we still have time left, I'm going to do one last thing, and this is totally unrelated to the game we just played. But first of all, big round of applause for Ed Kolis. It was a cool little game. I was going to play today a game called The Entombed. And I'm going to look it up. You can tune out now if you want. It doesn't matter. You can turn me off here. I'm not saying anything you need to know. But I'm telling you something that I thought was pretty fucking interesting that I found on Reddit. Last night while surfing Reddit, and I'm going to go there right now, I found reference to a game that had just released. It was a free roguelike called The Entombed. Sorry, I'm getting used to the new Reddit layout where it's hard for me to figure out where my fucking windows are. How the fuck do I find... Here we go. Let's go to the roguelikes. Not roguelike dev, I don't think. Roguelikes on... Here it is. On Reddit. And I'm going to go over there. It's a free roguelike based loosely on Commodore 64 Telengard. Now, I don't think if you watched my Commodore 64 playthrough of Telengard, it wasn't the most enticing of games. I don't know why anybody who's not nostalgic for that game in the first place would play it. This game does look different. It looks like very modernized and very beautiful, I'll tell you that, having fired it up, and really fucking cool. And it is completely free. I can't easily provide a link, but it's called The Entombed. Look that up. It's I can't tell who it's made by. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to say on this map or on this webpage. You can find it at, here, write this down, theentombed.wordpress.com. All one word, The Entombed. It looks amazing. It's free. Check it out. I did start playing it. It is very cool. Unfortunately, my OBS Studios won't record it. It just refuses. For some reason, it runs in full screen, and the full screen recording of it gets really choppy and messy. And then if I try to turn it into a window, the game won't play in window mode. So I can't record it for you. You'll never see me play The Entombed unless they fix that. But you should check it out. Just wanted to throw that plug out there for a free roguelike I discovered. Okay, that's it. I'm done, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll be back tomorrow with something else interesting and unique and cool. I don't know what that is. I'm just saying words. Goodbye.